material I promised I'd get through today, so we're going to move it forward. So, where were we at? We were on FSBOs. Okay, bring the next one's expired listings. That's a good thing to work on. It works. And but somebody that's had their house on the market for a long time, their listing's expired, and there's an opportunity to go put a deal together with them.
How did you find those?
And realtor. Now, on an expired listing, realtors think for their clients, and that's a mistake. And that's why I get upset when I see, I pull up and I see a realtor sign in front of a house I went to, because it doesn't allow me to have a conversation with the owner of the house to see what they really want to do. So a lot of times, and it's really a tragedy in foreclosures, because realtors list the houses above the market price, above everything, and they don't do the seller a service. And they could actually get the people out of the situation, and they could get them out with some money from if they were handling it properly. So on the expireds, it's the exact same situation. A lot of times they didn't listen to what the people really wanted, or they gave bad advice and when they set the people in the beginning, and they didn't really show them what the comps were on the property, or have a really straight conversation with them about where they're at inside their listings. So vacant homes is excellent. You just need to look for them. And if you can spot something with the grass high and weeds growing and the gutters hanging, there's an opportunity there. And that's the other point I want to point out, is it's not just the fact that you're looking for don't wanters, it's you're looking for a certain kind of property too, and it's usually property that needs repairs. So ugly properties are a good thing. So whether you like it or not, you're going to be in the rehab business, or you're going to need to be able to have customers that are in the rehab business. Unemployment office is an incredible place, and I had a friend of mine that got some type of unemployment magazine that I was doing television advertising and he was doing advertising in the unemployment magazine, and his leads were exceeding my leads. And I don't know what magazine it was. I just know that people that have had signs next to unemployment offices, or somehow been able to tap the unemployment list, or whoever would know about unemployment. Maybe it would be a company that's laying people off, or maybe somehow you advertise for that. But there's opportunities there for don't wanters. Billboards work. We used to put billboards up for charities, and we would, you could get really great deals on billboards if you'd let them rotate them. Put them in a rotation. In other words, they put them where somebody who wasn't taking the advertisement, you could get reduced prices on them. They're not as expensive as you think when you're taking their unwanted signs, or you're allowing them to move your sign around. So it's something you can look at. Bus benches are outstanding, and my wife, she got upset with me because I didn't share the one thing. You know you're stupid when, okay? So you know you're stupid when you lay down with dogs with fleas, because I done that. So you asked what the biggest mistake, it was asking me what I made. It was who I associated myself with. So you really want to look at like who you're playing with. So like when I went to, there was a seminar in Chicago put on by Mark Victor Hansen, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, and Robert Allen. And they did a great job of saying, like, if you really want to make a difference in this world, you should be earning some money to be able to make a difference in this world. And they were talking about Mark Victor Hansen shared how he was talking to Tony Robinson.
Tony Robbins.
Robbins, yeah. He was making $1 million a year. You know, he thought he was pretty good. He goes, I don't understand, Tony, how you can make, millions of dollars. And he says, well, I'm hanging with billionaires and you're hanging with millionaires. So that was, it was the truth. And so when you look at who you're playing with, whatever their conversation's coming out of their mouth is actually your conversation. So you need to shift if you want to be doing deals. Start getting yourself with deal makers that are actually out there doing deals. are people that are playing, like, you know, or look for people that are being very successful. Like I get some coaching from a guy, his name is Mike Staff. He's a radio announcer on the Rift. He's been on there 16 years, and he has a DJ business, and he has like 18 DJs. On one weekend, he can do 18 weddings. And he's got a phenomenal business. And he is very, very, very successful financially. So I go like hang out there, because I mean, you leave there inspired and get a lot of ideas about, his business is no different than my business. It's the same thing. It's about generating leads. It's about service. It's about that. So you can just start interviewing people that are up to something, that are making that. So, you know, works. Basically what we discovered, like, is because you track when the ad calls come in, but the late night stuff where your commercial's gonna run you $25, $50 is as good as the prime time stuff that's running $400 and $500. So it's an effective method. Newspapers. That is a very, very effective way to buy houses. Now, you want to look to be in newspapers where you don't have a lot of competition. So you can go with the smaller publications, church magazines, what Metro Times, is that one in Detroit? What are some papers that are smaller papers?
Real Detroit.
Yeah, Real Detroit. So you want to go in there, I buy houses for cash in any condition. And if you're going to be in like Detroit News and that, you can go in the Sunday and I'll go on the website. You want to figure out with the local papers how you put yourself at the top of the list. Like some papers have, like if you put asterisks in there, or you put AAAAA, they'll move you to the top. You've got to find out how you get at the top. And it's based upon consistency. When I was in Pontiac, I ran every day in the Oakland Press. I knew exactly who else was in the Oakland Press. I knew what my competition was going to say when the phone rang. I knew that Shirley Foote was going to want to list the house. I knew Alan Fatel was going to go out and be a man of few words. And I knew that, you know, so you've got to find out what your competition says. So you need to call the competition. Now I want to tell you that is a great lead source, is the papers, because there are people that are getting leads already, paying for them, and they're after their niche. They're looking for a house that they want. They're thinking in a box that's way smaller than the box you should be in after you leave here. So you need to get the leads that they're throwing away, because they're throwing them away. You want to go to look in the yellow pages. There's yellow page ads that say I buy houses for cash, because they get their ad in there and then they get sick of the business. They become a worn out landlord. There's just leads being wasted. And that's an opportunity for you to pick those up for nothing. And I have a telemarketer that sits at my office and calls for leads, and all I do is give her the classified ad out of the Detroit News. And she generates leads that we buy. So this is not rocket science. She's a very, it's Barb, you've seen her at the office, people love talking to her. Yeah, you know what, I've got another 4 houses here, and she just chit-chats with them and she gets the houses, and then we go out and shoot the pictures and we're off and running with it. So newspapers are an incredible resource. Now, it's race to the swift when you run an ad in there that says I buy houses for cash. That's why tomorrow you've got to be able to write a purchase agreement and take the deal on right there. When I talked earlier today, I told you about a deal I lost with a house on a lake, and that was because I had to drive back to my office to get the purchase agreement, and the time I got back it was gone. That was an ad out of the paper. You have to be able to take property fast, very quickly. And you have no, if you're an engineer, you have no time to analyze the property. You're not going to analyze the property. Tomorrow we're going to learn how to put escape clauses in your purchase agreement so that you tie the deal up, analyze it later.
And the newspaper ads, so did you find Sundays more effective than the weekdays, or about the same? What is your experience then? Have you tracked it down?
I didn't track it, so I just, because we were in Pontiac, we were running every day, you know. And probably Sunday's the best paper to be in, I guess, Saturday or Sundays.
Mark, I have a quick question. Knowing what you know now on that house that you lost because you had to run back to your office to get a purchase agreement, could you have run to Staples or some realtor or somebody and grabbed a generic one and filled it out?
I should have just grabbed the person and taken them with me. Email broadcast. Now that's something that's available to you if you want to do inside partnership with me or create your own. And I'm going to recommend you create your own. You need to capture every email address you can get. You need to find some type of system where you can do broadcast. In all these group meetings you go to, you want to start capturing emails. You want to create something on your own website that when somebody sends something to you that you can capture their email address too. Like I'll send you the 7 secrets of, or I'll give you my free email, or I'll give you something in exchange for your email address. Because that is like the key. When anything I want in real estate, I can do an email broadcast out and it goes out to 4,000 people. So if you've got something you want to buy or you're working with a customer, remember we're talking about listing customers too. So when you're at these meetings, if they say I want to buy a house in West Bloomfield at da-da-da-da-da-da, all I have to do is do an email broadcast out and I can get back a whole list of people that want to sell at that. So it works very well.
Mark, are you familiar with any particular software that is friendly for doing email broadcast that is not too expensive? Can you share that with us?
We have a web guy here.
Yeah, most web servers, like if you have AOL, anything like that, you just have to, if you're gonna send, like Mark's got a list of 4,000 people.
Right.
You have to, if he was using AOL to do that, and I don't think he is, but for example, you have to tell AOL, this is what I'm doing, you know, I have permission to send this out. And you know, typically, I mean, it's a phone call, and they'll just mark it on your account. You don't even really need to buy the software. You just compile the email addresses in a spreadsheet like Excel, cut and paste them into the VCC. Make sure you do it in the VCC, because you're blind copying. You don't want, because what you'd end up doing is giving everybody your email list if you know, send it out. And then it's just that easy. So,
What do you do for a living?
internet e-learning person.
So,
Like online e-learning programs. That's the day job.
yeah.
Do you create websites too?
Yeah, I know how. I mean, I don't typically do that. But yeah, I mean.
So that works very well, so I'm my only point. So REOnetwork.com we talked about, that would be where you would go find what? Test question. REO agents. And BPO agents, okay? Okay. Brochures and restaurants, you've gone to the placemats and restaurants. I buy houses for cash. On the restaurants, you want to have your business cards. A lot of restaurants have billboards or little bulletin boards that you can put them up on. Hardware stores, beauty shops. I've got people that have a regular route where they go around and put their business cards up. If you don't have it already, one of the people that come to some of our meetings, Denise, she says, I buy houses for cash, and you just rip off the phone number at the bottom. It's got the little cuts. That works really well. She had leads off of that she was working with. Party stores, you can go in and strike deals with the owners like I was talking about, where you can get the double email thing coming out. Party stores, I've had 2 people in my past that delivered routes to party stores and service stations that worked for the newspapers, and they actually delivered my brochures to those party stores, and they already know the owners of the party stores, so they can get those brochures put into the party stores in little holders, and you can they'll take care of you. For a long time I used to put them in the newspaper thing, and then they don't like that either. So you can't do that, but it worked for a while. Brochures, when you're out doing this business, homes that have been sold by the team, I have a list of all the homes that we bought and sold. I had like 1,000 or so on there. Because when you're out talking to somebody, they need to establish some credibility, then a flyer on yourself. And if you're not doing stuff you don't have anything to talk about, then you can put your team on there and talk about yourself as, and here's the team I'm associated with. And this is what they've done. So, hardware stores, beauty shops we talked about, websites. You can create a website for buys too, like attracting people in. And Peter's done that, and we'll talk about that a little later. On your leads, and it'll be on by Tuesday, and if tomorrow, or if somebody wants to do pass a sheet of paper around and give me emails, then some of the forms I'm going to talk about tomorrow, and some of the stuff I'm going to do today, I will email you those forms. And one of the things I'm going to email you is a link where you can actually, like let's say that you get a lead, because Otis, now you're generating leads for foreclosures. You can sell those leads on the internet to people that will buy them. And then I forget what the percentages you get. And then anybody that goes in and buys your leads, if they start selling their leads to it, then you become an affiliate under that, and you start picking up money coming back. It's not big dollars, but it helps to cover your overhead and your cost. So, and like for somebody like me, I've got like inactive leads of recently I've probably got like about 2,000 inactive leads. I'm probably going to sell all those leads, not sell them, but assign them to that website. And then people will pay to get those leads, and then I get a part of that every time. So I'll get that out to you. Okay, so what's the next slide? That's what's illegal right there. Okay, business cards. Those are the cheapest things you can do. And the more of those you can get and hand out, the better. And just something simple. And it works. What's our next slide? Okay. The pre-inspection checklist, that's in your folder, so I'd like you guys to pull that out because I'm sorry, look for the cash call lead assignment. That's probably more simple form. I think there's a couple different forms in there when you look. Yeah, there's actually two different lead sheets. One's called pre-inspection checklist. It looks like this. And then the other one is like a cash call lead assignment. So let's take the one, the bigger sheet first, and I'll just hand it back to you. The number one thing you want to get is their name when they call off a lead, and then the other thing that's the most important thing you want to get when you're getting a lead is you want to get their phone number, then you want to get their mother's phone number, you want to get where they're living, because what's going to happen on somebody that's in trouble, their phone number is going to get shut. Excuse me. Shut off. So the person that's going to win in that situation is the person that has the phone numbers or how to get hold of them. So when you're dealing with a don't wanter, you really got to go all out to get as many phone numbers and is the best way to get hold of them that you can. And that'll put you in the driver's seat over your competition. You want to just chit-chat with them and find out the condition of the neighborhood. Is there board ups? You know, tell me about the neighborhood. Tell me about the house. Does the roof leak? You know, you want to get a flavor for what the condition of the house is. And if they're telling you that there's certain things wrong with the house, you've got a pretty good flavor about what the house would look like. Then early on in the conversation, you want to ask them, how much do you want for your house? And then later in the conversation, after you've asked more questions about the condition of the roof and this and that, you want to come back and say, if I paid all cash and closed immediately, what would you take? You'll see the price will drop about 25%. So then you want to get that price because now you've established what the next price level is. So you want to get as much information as you can. Now how we do this, and there is no right way to do something. I have somebody that's really good at talking to people. First of all, it doesn't even come to us. It goes to an answering service thing that's emailed to us. Because people call all times and hours, and So the second it gets emailed, Tony, who's our partner, and a lot of the signs you saw up there, she calls the people back immediately. And she starts to get a flavor for the house. The second she's got that, she emails it to Roy, who's my other partner, who goes by the house usually the next day, shoots a picture of it. And then he has seen enough houses and done enough deals in the market, he's got a pretty good flavor if you're going by a brick 3-bedroom in Detroit, and I don't really care where it is, and they want $15,000 for it. Is that a good deal? And it looks, windows are in and everything. So it's just common sense. So when you see something really good, then you're going to jump on that and get it tied up, and that's when you know you're going to move. So if you're working a full-time job, what Ron's doing, then having somebody that'll go look at something right away or pretty quick and then getting it tied up, that's how come they got the number of listings they got. Because when somebody's ready to go on this, if you're not responding to them, then they're going to start calling other people. So it's back to you can't take real estate in slow motion.
So Mark, do you try to talk, when after the phone conversation, to collect the information, to get an appointment after that point? After it's filled out? Or you take it to the house?
Sometimes when we get the deals, they're so hot by not even shooting a picture. Tony knows that there's a deal, so then she's on the phone with Roy saying, get there right now. So now here's the beauty behind all this, is what am I doing? No, I'm not doing anything. It's called passive income because I am not in the system. So you can create the same thing for yourself. Now, yeah, I'm coaching. Yes, the second they've got it tied up, if something's not moving, then I'm looking at it from a problem-solving standpoint. I'm also trying to work on lining people up. But we've established certain customers that I established those customers originally that Tony's now selling the inventory to. So I've removed myself out of that system in totality, and that is the best moment in your life when you can do something like that, because they put the whole deal together and closed it on a system that's been set up. So there's some questions you want to ask on the lead generation point. You want to know what the motivation of the seller is and what the reason is. So if they said that they need they've got a mortgage on the property. Tony's question is, she doesn't say, are your payments current? She goes, how many payments behind are you? Well, I'm not any payments behind, because they're going to say, well, I'm 4 payments behind. What does that tell you? They're in foreclosure. They're in pre-foreclosure. Maybe. So, it's just, so she's got a really good flavor for it. Then there's a checkoff list here for you because you want to make sure they've got the original deed. You want to make sure they're there when you meet them with their driver's license. You want to make sure they got any tax bills. If it's a divorce, you need a copy of the divorce decree. You need to know the keys. You want to make sure they're bringing the keys to the property with them, because when you go to that property, you only want to go there one time. Okay? And we have properties we take in that we never go to the property. We drove by it by the street, it looks good. We've had them bring everything to us. And sometimes those are under like advertising agreements, because if we're going to tie it up on a purchase agreement, we're actually going to go inside and look at it. But when we're looking at a house to buy, the whole time we're there, if it's with Roy and I, and Tony's done the proper work with the people, we're in and out in 20 minutes. That's looking at the house, and everything on our purchase agreement, everything is filled out ahead of time. The only thing that's not filled out is the purchase price. So we're going in to hammer out that purchase price and be out the door. So you've got old closing papers, title insurance, mortgage information, death certificates, because a lot of times somebody's died, then if you've got a probate estate problem or whatever. So you want all that stuff, and if there has been a death certificate and it's a husband-wife, then you need to copy that death certificate to be able to close it. So you're trying to gather as much information up front as you can. And if they're giving you their mortgage information and bringing it with them, then you know what they paid for it too, right? So you need the legal description, you need all the stuff that you're asking for here. Now, if they don't have some of that, don't cancel the call, you're gonna go anyway. If they have none of it, don't cancel the call, you're gonna go anyway. It's just back to what Larry said, if you gotta do it on a napkin, do it on a napkin, you know. You don't worry about if you don't have something. Don't worry about whether you filled the paperwork out right or wrong. That's how you're gonna learn this business, you just gotta go do it. Then get on the phone like Javon and say, well, does this go there, does that go there, and pop, 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 pop.
When you have people call that, your number that you got from Telcom, what's the script that you give to the Telcom phone person? Just getting basic contact information? Within the sheet?
No, I can, okay, so somebody needs to make me a list. That'll be the first thing I email everybody is the script that Telcom asks the people when they call in, okay?
Okay.
So you want to keep a list, and then I'll provide all that. I'll email it out to everybody.
Oh, you mean just get an email list started?
Yeah, somebody needs to pass a sheet of paper around with the email numbers, and then I'll send you my Telcom script, what they ask.
Okay.
Okay? All right, so do you see, you just want to gather information. And that's all, the other form is there. It's just to gather information. So it's like whatever you feel comfortable with. But you got to have enough information that when you went out to resell your lead or you send it to somebody. Now, when I have people come in and deed off to me, right? Like they come to the office, they bring everything, and we do everything. I've never been in the house, but I've taken control of it, right? I don't have to worry about analyzing because I'm going to send all my investors out to do that. So, do you follow that? I mean, it's like you want to eliminate your work process as much as you humanly possible. And I'll give you Gary, you started out, the total time to present a purchase agreement was in the beginning?
Oh, at least an hour and a half.
4 hours?
2 hours.
2 hours. And now it's
Because that went
down
over
to-
every clause.
Yeah, now it's down to,
Jeez. Oh, a half hour, 40 minutes. Getting better. So.
the most important clause for me to go over with somebody that will not have, I won't have a problem with, instill total confidence in them, is like show them the attorney clause. It says that they can cancel this contract, and then you put in the number of days, 3 days, 4 days, that they should take it to their attorney, they should have it reviewed. If there's anything on here that's wrong, they get the right to cancel it. That does not, I do not have people canceling contracts. And if you've gotten right there and you're the first one there, it actually, they have a lot more faith in your ability to get something done than somebody else's. Whatever you resist, like them going to an attorney, that's what's gonna happen. So it's whatever you resist, persist. So I'm saying like, here's this clause, I put this in there, I want you to take it to your attorney. I tell them, I want you to take it to your attorney. If you don't have an attorney, I want you to take it to a real estate person. I want you to take it to whoever you know that knows something about real estate and review this. If you have any questions, call me. You know, the more you do that, the less resistance you're gonna get. That's the #1 clause that I make sure I go over every time.
Hey, Mark, with the
I'm sorry.
oh, well, just quickly, with the pre-foreclosures, the people, all they want to do is show me the line, where to sign, boom, that's it. So you're.
Yeah, they want to be gone. Yeah.
There is no legal obligation to explain any clause of any contract to anybody. It's presumed if they're over 18 and not mentally retarded, that they're legally responsible for what they sign. How much time do you spend when you're going over an offer to purchase with a prospective seller?
We're in and out of the house, looking at the house and doing everything in 20 minutes or less.
How much time do you actually spend explaining clauses of the offer to purchase to prospective seller?
We don't. We go, here's the price. We tell them we're not even the buyer. We say that we have an investor that's going to be the buyer. We're going to sign this purchase agreement. We're signing it for our profit. This is what we do for a living. And it's very quick. Boom, boom, boom.
Has there ever been any resistance to your offer to purchase where it says it's to you or S&Rs?
Yeah, basically just any purchase agreement in the state of Michigan you can assign. Unless it's somebody's put in there, it's not assignable, okay? So no, there's no resistance to that. We explain to them, we're not the buyer. I explain to them what I've got. I explain what my credentials are. They're looking to get, they don't want her, you're not,
Right.
Help me,
yeah.
take away my pain.
And then what we've got is if it's something I'm not sure about, and we'll go over it tomorrow, that I don't know whether I can even get it sold, because I'm signing PAs and stuff. I'm not signing a purchase agreement unless I think I can move it and get it gone. I am not there to mess those people up in any way, shape, or form. You need to be really clear about that. So if I'm not sure I can do the job, then what I'm gonna do is sign an advertising agreement with them. And that then gives me the control, because it allows me inside my advertising agreement to file a claim of interest against the property, so no snaky, slimy investor that I've dealt with in the past that goes around me is gonna go around me because I've never recorded against the property. And that's the nature too. I had a website, and I had all these properties on it. I didn't have claims of interest recorded against it, and I had people that I totally trusted going around me and closing on deals that I sent there. So my purchase, we'll get into purchase agreements tomorrow, but I just, this, you need to gather the information so now you've actually got something to sell. Yes?
For the advertising agreements, do you have to have a broker's license, or do you have to have somebody with a broker's license do that? Or-
Okay, well, I'm not an attorney, but this is my understanding, and I'm quoting Lori, who runs Middleton Real Estate School. According to her, and according to all the articles I get, the aggregators, or the people that are creating these advertising agreements and websites, identical to mine, are not realtors. Ours is a real estate website, and it says we're realtors and all that. And what's happened is the multi-list services in those different states have been coming after those aggregators and bringing suit, and they're losing every case. So what's happening to the real estate industry is the aggregators without the license are winning everywhere. Because all it is an advertising agreement. It's an agreement that says, I'm going to advertise your home on my website. If I bring you a buyer, you owe me a fee. You can also prepay for that advertisement, pay me a flat fee. I'm going to advertise your home, and it's going to go out. I'll email broadcast it out to 4,000 investors. I will, it's the #1 traffic site. It's in the top 0.5% of websites worldwide for traffic. I'll make all those statements that are true. And I'm saying, I think in this market, in all the other markets, if I was not a realtor, that the MLS would not be able to stop me from doing it. Now, I don't want to be the first court test case, so in my advertising agreement, it says that I'm a realtor, and I give them an option if they want to put their house on the MLS or just on the website. And I'm complying with all the rules here locally. And I am a realtor. But the answer is could somebody that's not a realtor come in and work with me inside an advertising agreement? And I feel like the answer is absolutely yes.
If you're not a realtor, does it have to be a flat fee, or can it be a percentage?
We do ours flat fee on our advertising agreements. But that's all a negotiation at the time you're there. So like if I was dealing with a frugal investor, my flat advertising fee for his properties might be $1,500 to $2,500. If I'm dealing with a homeowner, individual that's in trouble, it might be $5,000. I might be at their house having to do more work, where the investor's emailing me stuff and faxing back and forth. So, and we do it off flat fee. And if it's a multi-million-dollar hotel somewhere, it might be a flat $100,000 advertising fee. So.
Can you clarify how we can develop interest in a property, claim of interest in a property?
Tomorrow.
Oh,
That's what we're going to be doing. Okay. So is everybody willing to do some calling tonight? Who's not willing to do that? Try to generate a lead so we can play with this stuff.
I'm good to try to do this.
What? Everybody got really quiet.
That means yes.
Well, you've got, who has stuff out right now?
Well, I have that one,
Go ahead. You've got the one you're working
yeah,
on.
but I'll make calls.
All right, I've got blank signs here that you can do. That's, you know, and that program works, because last week, to give you an example, we had 2 days, we did seminars at the office for some of the people that came there. We spent one day, we did options on doing a rent to own, and then the next day we did what? I don't even remember. HUD, well, that was the regular preferred, but we did another special meeting on a deed off.
Right.
So, and I don't have a problem with preferred investor coaching them, because you weren't there for the deed off, although we did over on the foreclosure thing, but that 2-day boot camp, you cover so much stuff, there's no way you can remember. And you can't do a lease option. I don't care how many seminars you've been to, when it's experiential, so you need to actually go do one. So, and that's actually, this business is experiential in a certain degree. You know, you need to actually get one and bring it in and do it. So, okay. So let's go back to what we can do. So I've got signs that are blank signs. So anybody wants some of those signs before you leave tonight, you can take them, okay? And then you just need to get a magic marker and it works. I had some of these signs, right? They misprinted them and the company didn't want them back. It was off one phone number. So I just got yellow heat duct tape. It was a different sign. And I covered up the sign because the numbers were all in black. And when they were like this, and just put a magic marker, and I mean, those signs are still up. They've been up 2 years. And the magic marker's still holding up, the yellow heat duct tape's holding up. So I want to hear it for heat duct tape. It's great stuff. It works everywhere. So
Now, the sign, they're white, are they white?
they're yellow.
Oh.
It took a little while to find yellow heat duct tape, but they make it.
What type of signs you gonna give away?
What?
The
The signs I'm going to give away are white.
Okay.
They're my old signs. You have to use the back side of them. That's what they say on one side.
Oh, okay.
That program works too. That's the back side.
Okay. Okay.
So you just use that or put two of them together.
Yeah, okay.
So. Okay, so who in here hasn't, who doesn't have business cards yet? Because it's nothing to do that, so just, so you take that on and get them done? And there's one company you can go do it free, right?
Like, don't they say on the back of the cards though, these are free? These were free cards.
Yeah, what do you care?
Yeah.
It says you buy a house for cash. They work. So what do you do once you have a lead? You've got to get the lead sheet. Who is taking leads in right now? You are. So why don't you, because you've been doing it for a couple of weeks, what have you learned out of that? So why don't you come on up here, Ron, because I want to pick on you. It's okay. Tell us about some of the leads, because I don't even know what they are. My partner's been working with them.
Okay, what I do is put up signs and get a lot of pre-foreclosure, foreclosure leads. And then what I'll do is I'll get their general information, like trying to get an idea of what I think I could do with them. And I'll say, I'm gonna get a guy to go out there and check out the property, and then we'll see the best strategy for you. And I'll just call them back once I talk to Roy, or come and pester Mark.
So do you have some other, what are some potential deals you got going that aren't pre-foreclosure? Anything hot?
Oh, well, I had off my side, I got a couple guys call me about a couple possible rehab projects, like some small houses where they only want 10, 15 for them, like 2 or 3 of those. I got, mostly I just get pre-foreclosures and foreclosure leads right now.
Okay, good.
So
So since he's had the signs up, just so you know, I had one minister come to my office who had, the one I called you on, that was a church and they got a school and they needed help. I don't know if you ever called, I left your number. So can I talk about, everybody raise your hand, Mark. This is Mark Lang, he's the chancellor, vice chancellor.
Not the chair. Actually, the provost of the Entrepreneurial Institute at Wayne County Community College.
Yeah, which is really great, because I just handed him a magazine article that said that people that are going through the entrepreneurial schools and colleges, now are making 27% more money than the people that go through the regular school. They're talking about the ones that actually go out and go into business for themselves, and they're talking about the ones that go through the college courses and go take a regular career job working for a company. 27% higher pay.
That's excellent.
That's an incredible article. So, you know, that's a great project you're working on. I mean, it's like, that's the best. So, but one of the deals he had was a church that had a charter school, that they lost the charter school, moved out. They have a new charter school. It's actually, I think, a Detroit charter school that wants to come in, and they can't put together the financing on it. So, and the church is in foreclosure. Now, the bank has not foreclosed on they foreclosed on the church, and the church is still in there. And that's because of who the tenant is. They've elected not to evict them, and they foreclosed over 6 months ago. So, and they're willing to sell it back to the church, and the church has got a school coming, and the numbers look good on it. So, but I mean, that's one of the deals that Ron brought me. So it's like interesting what shows up, you know, off signs and off, out of his aunt. His aunt's real active, and she does a great job. So.
We'll take good care of it.
My problem is I know I've got a great lead, but I haven't got it tied up. And I'm really understaffed to be able to get them all tied up. So now, how could I tie up or work something like that? Is I do a buyer referral agreement that says, Mr. Buyer, you're my buyer, I'm going to be giving you leads that I don't have tied up. And you owe me a flat $5,000 for every one you buy. So now I can send my buyer straight out, because I already know I got a good deal to tie it up, and I know I'm going to get paid. And not only do I send him out, I know he's going to be using my form to tie it up, because that's his agreement with me. My form says I have the right to file a claim of interest against the property. So I want to make sure I get paid. So you can, you know, market the lead as just a lead to a buyer referral agreement. Does everybody follow that? And tomorrow we're going to go, there's an extra buyer referral agreement in your forms. Now, the advertising agreement, the buyer referral agreement, the seller referral agreement, all those forms are not used in traditional real estate. They're all forms that were done by an attorney and taken to 3 different real estate schools. And I get the most respect for Lori that runs Middleton, and been reviewed them to make sure that what I'm doing is working, and it hasn't been questioned or challenged. So, and you can sell your once you've got a lead established too, you can then sell that lead on that list I was telling you about. So even if you're just generating leads on massive volume and selling them on the internet, that's another possibility for you. So what we're about to do is we're going to look at a way what you can do with a lead when you generate it. Another source for you is to get an advertising agreement. If you've gone to a house or you've looked at a property and you're not sure what to do with it, what you can tell somebody is and you can everything in real estate is there for the taking. So if you want to recopy this agreement and use it differently for yourself, you can do that too. So what you want to say, what I say to them is I will get your property on a website that's in the top 0.5% of websites worldwide, gets that much traffic. Here's the website, you can go check it out. I'm going to put that house on there with a picture and all the information. I'm going to do a broadcast email out to 4,000 people. And this is properties that I'm not sure I have an exit for. And what I discovered was, when I'm going out and evaluating property, stuff that I see that I don't think will ever sell, and there's no exit for, nobody would ever want, and in their right mind, sell. And the reason I know that is because we represent charities where people donate challenged properties to charities. And there's no way some of these properties should ever sell, nobody in their right mind should ever buy them, and we sell them. And I'm just dumbfounded over it. And when I go out and look at properties, I look at properties that I feel should sell very quickly, that are great deals, that sit there, and then somebody I've got an advertising agreement on that I didn't think would happen, happens. So the worst thing you can do in this business is try to determine whether it's a good deal or a bad deal. Because what happens is when you go out on the street with this, you'll find investors that want to have every house they've got on one street. They want to own the entire street. Or you've got a neighbor that wants to buy the house. Or you've got, you can't try to figure stuff out. So this allows you to control the property even when you don't know what the exit is, and you can be really straight with the people and say that.
What is that paperwork called?
It's called an advertising agreement. It's a real estate advertising agreement. That's all it is you're saying, I'm going to advertise your property on a website, I'm going to do email broadcast out, and you owe me a flat advertising fee, and I'm going to put the house on there for a certain amount of money. And then the information I need to have about that property is on the last page, or the last couple pages.
This fee is paid only if the house sells?
They only owe the money to you if the house sells.
So this has no realtor on the property. You're acting as more or less for sale by owner with you being the advertising?
Well, this particular form is a budget realty form, okay?
Right.
And in this form, we give them the option whether they want to list the house or not. And in this form, we're only getting it signed by a realtor. But I'm saying in the market, you can do advertising agreements. And inside this agreement, we can split on the advertising agreement. But we're doing it as a realtor because we want to have the option, if they want to list it, they can. And only the realtor is signing the form. So you're working as an assistant to the realtor. Okay, questions?
Because I'm a realtor and I'm working within this organization, I'm pretty much better off doing half of this and the other half is people from my office, correct?
Absolutely, you could do a referral agreement back from your office.
My broker lets me use his paperwork. So.
Absolutely, you could do that.
Now, you talk about when you don't have an exit strategy. So I'm trying to think of a person that's in foreclosure and I don't have an exit, or am I just mixing stuff up?
When you go out and you look at the property, okay, I'm only signing a purchase. If somebody is losing their house, we're talking about two different things.
Okay.
So let's
All right.
break them down. First of all, if it's a pre-foreclosure and the people are going to walk away, I'm going to take the deed off,
Right,
right?
right.
And I don't necessarily have an exit strategy, okay?
Right, exactly.
If I go out and look at the house and they want to sell it for it's a brick, 3-bedroom, they want $15,000 for it, I'm going to sign a purchase agreement. Pretty much anywhere, okay? So that's like a no-brainer for me. I'm going to sign a purchase agreement, buy it. Now that I'm going to put on my website, and that purchase agreement I'm going to assign the purchase agreement to a prospective buyer. That's why I'm getting the purchase agreement signed. If I look at the house and they want $40,000, it's a brick $60,000 neighborhood, then I'm going to sign an advertising agreement because I'm not quite sure what my exit is. If I can't list it, I would list it too. I would do whatever works. I just got an exit for it. A lot of times when people are in foreclosure, they will not list their house because they don't want their neighbors to know. They don't, even though they just, it's where they're at. They don't want to do it. So you get an advertising agreement.
So
At least you're able to market.
Advertising agreement or listing?
No, you can do both. If you want, you can do both.
And for those of us that are not realtors,
Advertising agreement only.
you just take the real estate name off your contract?
Not if you want it to be advertised on my website, I'm going to be involved, and I'm going to be signing, I'm going to be doing it with you, okay?
Okay, yeah.
But you could use the same concept. So in your packets, there's 3 separate forms, and we're going to be talking about one of the forms. The 3 forms are real estate advertising agreement, buyer lead referral agreement, and seller referral agreement. And there's a difference in each one of the forms. One of them is the seller. You go to the house and they don't want to sign an advertising agreement with you, they don't want to sign a listing agreement with you, they don't want to sign a purchase agreement with you, but you can tell them, well, I can bring you a buyer to look at your house. So this is like a one-party listing, like you're gonna bring somebody a buyer. That's the seller lead agreement. Then there's the advertising agreement we've been talking about. And then there's a buyer referral agreement where, remember I said that I can lock somebody up as a buyer and then send them straight out. So I've got all three forms, so whatever this fits the scenario you can do. So that's what we're talking about when it talks about an advertising agreement. And it works. So the seller, and that's the next item, it's the seller referral agreement, and that's one of the forms is just that. They don't want to sign an advertising agreement, they don't want to sign a listing agreement, but you tell them you've got a buyer for the property. Then what you've done is at least you've locked them up for a commission or an advertising fee to be able to get on that, or agreement, a fee agreement. So.
Mark, what do you do to ensure that you get paid when the property is sold?
Well, each agreement has the right to file a claim of interest against the property. So in the state of Michigan, if you file a claim of interest against a property, you have to have the right by contract. So in our purchase agreement, it has the right to be able to file a claim of interest. And what I mean by claim of interest, we're going to record at the county, at the Register of Deeds office, a claim. So when somebody goes to buy it, that claim's going to clout the title. In other words, they're not going to be able to purchase that property unless that claim gets released. And that's going to protect our interest. So all these agreements allow us to file a claim of interest against the property. So that's how I'm going to be protected in every agreement.
I went into a bad contract. I put in earnest money deposit and things didn't work out. But I didn't have any exit strategy in the contract. So I lost the money in the contract, but I thought my position, I was in the right position, and the seller kind of like didn't do it right, okay? I don't think he did it legally. So, but I lost my earnest money deposit by doing a claim of interest with Mark suggesting. As a matter of fact, Mark doesn't know that right now, but because I put in a claim of interest because I had a contract, I can do a claim of interest. I recorded it. Monday, I'm getting paid for the deposit.
Which was how much money?
Well, one of the units so far. It was 2 units that I was purchasing. Each unit I had $5,000 to deposit. Okay. Yeah. So again, that's because you didn't write the contract with the exit strategy. You need to do that. You got the forms here. Use them. But as soon as you put a claim of interest, you can't. The person that owns the property can't sell it. So with that, I'm getting my money back. So
that's how you protect yourself. And you know, it's back to what stupid is. And I mean, I had to learn that the hard way, over and over and over again. People taking advantage of me. And it's what kills you is, like, I had one particular mortgage person I was selling stuff to that I thought was so committed to me, and then I found out, because then somebody else burned me. I said, that does it. We're filing every time. I don't care what it is. We're filing a claim of interest because we've got the legal right to do it. So we started doing that, and I found out that somebody I was sending a ton of business to was going around me. He would just cherry pick them. So, you know, we were going to be totally cut out of the deal.
So the claim of interest is claimed at the city courthouse. Where would you go? I mean,
County records.
Register of Deeds in the county that the property is located.
Okay.
if you're in Wayne County, it'd be
1200 North Telegraph in Oakland, the Monroe.
Monroe Street,
Monroe Street.
where Greektown is. Or right, we're in the same building as Fishbones.
Okay.
In Greektown.
So you can get free parking if you stop and gamble, and then go and record your registered deeds. So it's like perfect. So,
I'm confused where the seller's lead referral agreement is used. If they don't want to sign an advertising agreement, then you would sign?
so I'm at somebody's house and they're like, I don't want my house on a website. I don't want to list it. And I say, well, I have what I think is a buyer for your property. Will you sign a seller referral agreement? If I bring you the buyer, will you pay me a fee?
Okay, so that's the one listing you're talking
Yeah.
about. And last page on the advertising agreement, is this, it says the licensee disclosure, is that just for a realtor?
It's for a realtor, and if you're using our forms, we're gonna get that signed. And we're getting it signed because we're signing it as a transaction coordinator.
Okay. Do you have to record the seller rate referral?
Pardon?
Do you have to record that seller rate referral?
All we're recording, when you read the agreement, and it's in there in more than one place, is a claim of interest. What that does is clout the title, and it refers back to the advertising agreement. And then it has my phone number, or my partner's phone number on it. And then what happens is like 8 months from now, they're calling you up just screaming at you on the phone like, da, ba, 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 ba. I've got one right now where we had a binding purchase agreement, we had a buyer for the property, set a closing, people didn't come to the table. Now it's like 8 months later and they're calling up saying, you know, we need a payoff for your claim of interest. So those calls are sometimes really good, you know, it's like, wow, thank you.
Could Peter have added something to that claim of interest, $5,000 to pay off, or is it exactly what he put down?
No, he's just gonna get his deposit.
All I'm worrying about,
It's what you agreed
I could have asked
to.
for more, like,
That's what I mean. You could have.
the interest during that month, the time that they kept it.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I could literally do whatever I want, but basically all I want my money, and I actually added my attorney fee. That's
Oh,
it.
okay.
Yeah, I put him with an attorney.
Richard White is great, he works in Mark's office.
So did that answer that? I have no problem doing open listings because I gotta have a sign in the front. I would not do an open listing if I couldn't put a sign in the yard though. Full service listing, that's just traditional real estate. How to partner with experienced investors, it's very simple. Like you just look in this room and see who's doing deals and you want to look to partner. You go to the RIA meeting and find out who's doing deals and partner with those people. So I'm just saying if you can't find anybody that wants to buy it, and that's the beauty behind doing the lead generation. If you can't find anybody, you then know you've got a bad deal. It's that simple. And that's usually the advertising agreements because I'm not sure about them. And it's not that I don't make mistakes. Sometimes I do tie something up that can't move, and then that's a mistake. But I'm not obligated to buy that property. So, and tomorrow we'll get into how not to get yourself obligated to buy that property. Is there a next one? Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the foreclosure process in the state of Michigan. Now, from a lead generation standpoint, and everybody's been to the foreclosure seminar should be able to answer these questions. When you have a mortgage, before it ever goes into default, where are you going to find out? Who knows that the property, that the people are 3 months or 2 months behind in their payment? Because I'm going to show you where to generate leads all the way through this whole process. Who knows that the property is not in, it's not been published in the legal news? Where are you going to go find out? Where do you get the leads?
The bank?
The bank knows, yeah, but
Mortgage brokers.
mortgage brokers, because these people are going in to apply for an application, they're in
The default site
foreclosure.
that you told us about.
The BPO guys
Yeah.
are out looking at this property. You got your BPO guys. Nobody knows. This is like no competition here, okay? It's on its way. So who else knows on the default?
That workout department.
You know? The mail carrier knows. I mean, they know, you know?
Well, how does the mail carrier know if they're 2 months behind?
Oh, come on, you get the papers every day, you deliver the papers, you know when somebody's in default on a mortgage, all those things go through. They know. Trust me.
But, I mean, but they know, like, if you're 2 months or 3 months?
I'd be willing to bet money if you,
Okay.
yeah, they know. They know people that are financially in trouble. So you've got the loan officer, you've got the realtor they went in to list the property with to turn them away, so realtors that are turning people away because the house is over leveraged. The counselors know. The divorce attorneys absolutely know, it's coming that direction. Probate attorneys know it's coming because they got a mortgage and the person died. Hasn't gone in default.
Now, you said with the BPOs, they know because it's before the sheriff's sale, but they're
When you get 30 days behind in your mortgage, you get 60 days behind. The mortgage companies, especially in Michigan, they need to go see if the house is vacant. They're sending realtors out there to do a drive-by and tell me the condition of the house. Are the lights on? What's the condition?
so when it's 60 days late.
What you're getting charged for is the owner of the property. They're charging you for that BPO.
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah.
What about insurance companies? Because my friend got behind 2 months. We had talked about he had behind 2 months, and the insurance company, I think they came out to the house and found no activity, and they had sent a letter saying they're going to drop insurance.
So that's good. An insurance person might know. That's really good. Okay? I'm just saying, look at who would know there. You want to chase that. Then at the time that it goes to publication, where would you go to find those? Like when they're being published, the first publication?
Legal news or default research.
The legal news or default research is going to do your work for you because they're going to have the owner's name, their address, where they're at, and a phone number. So your opportunities before pre-foreclosure, which is, you're going to have about a month's period there while it's being published, that you can catch the payments up, right? Does everybody realize that? So up until the time of the sheriff's sale, right here, you've got, or let's see, the sheriff's sale's over here, this time period, you've got the time to catch up the payments. So that's where you're deed off, and you can catch up the payments if you got a big enough spread, or you turn around doing a lease option or rent to own with somebody would work. So during that period, you also typically, in most states, get your best price out of, you're dealing with the loss mitigation department here. So you're going to be able to get your steepest short sale. And what would be properties you'd be looking for that would be really interesting to you that you found when you're talking to people? Or you're going into a mortgage company that's got these that they couldn't do anything for the people because they've already got the title work, they've got the appraisal, they've done all their work for you. Because the first thing they do in, not all mortgage companies, so you don't want you to hear it like this. An inexperienced mortgage person, somebody comes in and says, I'm going into foreclosure. Good. Give me an application fee, give me the money for the appraisal. They order the title work, they take the application fee, and then they turn around and say, I can't do anything for you. Your house is worth X, you're over leveraged, da 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 da. So now, and you've got a second mortgage, home improvement loan, and you've got this, this, and this, okay? So that's where there's a deal to be done because you can take that second and negotiate it way down, right? Because the second, when the foreclosure process is all the way over, the second gets dropped off. So that's what you're out looking for, those kinds of deals. So everybody, do you see the opportunities there for
Where
leads?
does the
So if you were
second-
looking from a lead generation standpoint here, is your wholesale mortgage guy that's calling the mortgage companies to be able to find that stuff. You're looking for an owner that owns a bunch of net branches because he doesn't know, he's got access to all that. You could actually want to be partners with him. The guy you met with on Friday, how many branch offices does he have? 30.
So your best time to get the second draft is that pre-foreclosure phase?
You get your best deal out of the loss mitigation department because they're here. Once the sheriff's sales happen, the day of the sheriff's sale, then it goes, and the mortgage company itself goes over to the REO department.
What if there's liens against the property else, like you mentioned the IRS?
So when I bought that lien goes against the person, okay? And then they can file it against the house too.
Right.
So what happens is when I bought the house, I was up on my taxes, they were current, right? Are you with me? So there was no IRS lien, no nothing. I bought the house, I got my first mortgage. Then I decided I want to put windows in the house. So now the window company comes and puts a second mortgage, they sell the paper, so now there's a first and a second. And then, let's just say that at that point, I mismanaged my business or didn't pay my taxes and the IRS puts a lien on my property. When the first mortgage forecloses, takes it all the way through the process, they wipe out the second mortgage and they wipe out the IRS lien. Okay, so that's why it's important to have the knowledge of understanding lien position in the state of Michigan. So what you could do on this deal here, let's say that the first is $80,000, the second's 20, and the IRS lien is $500,000, and the house is worth 120. Okay, so if the IRS lien wasn't there and if the second wasn't there, there's like $40,000 worth of equity in the house, and the house is in the burbs. That's a pretty decent deal. So the way to approach that, if you've got the knowledge, is to discount the second out, take an assignment of the second mortgage. Because that second mortgage is going to lose its position in totality. So the second's at $20,000, I'm going to tell the second, I'm going to give you $2,000 to have you assign that mortgage to me. Why do I want an assignment of the mortgage? Is because on the final HUD statement, I want to get my full amount. And their bank's only going to let this person that's selling the property, they're not going to let them make any money. They might let them make enough money to move. So that's a way for me, and when I buy the second, I'm also in front of the IRS. So if I wanted to, if it was pre-foreclosure, I could catch up the first mortgage. The second can legitimately take over the first. It's a simple assumption. It catches up the payments, and it now controls the property. And the second can foreclose out. At that point, you foreclose everybody out, which is, it's a great thing. So then you bump the IRS lien out of position. So it's all knowledge, so that's what you want to start looking at, like, that's where your money's going to be made by going there and analyzing the deals. That's why with the preferred investors, I need to get you guys out on the porch so you can be bringing the stuff back so we can start analyzing, because there's deals there. Or there's no deal, so let's throw it away. Or maybe there's a deal, but I haven't figured it out yet, and we'll see if somebody else can figure it out.
Mark, does ever the IRS take possession of the first and second just to get their security in?
I've never seen that, but it's not to say that they couldn't. I've never heard of the IRS coming and paying off the second and the first to get something, but I'm not saying that they couldn't. Now, from a lead generation standpoint, this is my point. Second mortgages, right? Defaulted second mortgages. Who has second mortgages? Mr. Belvedere, right? Home improvement companies have second mortgages. They look at people that have defaulted paper, that you can go buy the defaulted paper and take an assignment. You can analyze the entire deal. You can talk to the owner of the property. You can check and see if they've got IRS liens. Do you see, like, and now for you engineers, you can analyze before you do the deal. You see? Defaulted paper is a great place, second position defaulted paper, especially in this market. And there's a high probability you get the first to take a discount too. But you've taken the position of the second. You're stepping into their shoes. And you can have an agreement to purchase it for $2,000 but not purchase it. You know, you've agreed to buy it at a discount, but now you've got to put your deal together and you almost do it simultaneously.
When you talk about the situation where the entity that has the second mortgage catches up the payments on the first, and then after they catch up the payments on the first, then they begin their own foreclosure process?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then at that point, they are in first position over and above the first mortgage? No?
Can you repeat that question, Mark?
The question is if you had a first that's before the sheriff's sale, so it can be caught up, before the sheriff's sale,
Right.
and you're in second position, or you bought defaulted, you've taken an assignment of that second at a discount. So in other words, the second was $20,000, you paid Mr. Belvedere $2,000 for an assignment of his second mortgage.
Or like the Mr. Belvedere says, I'm just gonna catch up the first.
So, yeah, so Mr. Belvedere catches up the first. The question is then is he in first position?
Like so when he begins Mr. Belvedere is gonna begin
He can foreclose on his second,
So,
because he's got the right to protect the interest of the second, that's why he can catch the payments on.
and then he can start his foreclosure process.
He can. Larry?
Many of the banks, like LaSalle, that used to be Standard Federal, takes their paper and they sell it to InterFirst, who then sells it to Fannie Mae or someplace else, and all they keep is the servicing. When it goes into foreclosure, who do you end up contacting? Does it end up being the servicing entity?
The simplest way to do it
Yeah.
is the person that's in foreclosure has a number, and you're going to use their numbers to contact the person that's in charge. That's the simplest.
Are you saying that the number that's advertised in the newspaper, the law firm?
Oh, no, we're not going to deal with the law firm at all. You cannot.
Totally confused.
So, okay, so Trot and Trot.
Yeah, big time.
And I can't think of the other lady that owns a law firm, but
Trot and Trot has hundreds of foreclosure listings in the legal news.
Trot and Trot, it's not to their advantage to negotiate a short sale or stop the foreclosure process. And they'll tell you, if you contact them, they'll submit the offer to the carrier. You want to go direct to either the loss mitigation department, or you want to go direct to the REO department. But in order to do that, you have to be working with the owner of the property. And well, Trot and Trot won't even talk to you if you're not working with the owner. So you need to be dealing with the owner. But if you do your research or you're buying second paper, second mortgage, they can talk to the loss mitigation department. They can also be talking to the owner, but you really want to talk to all of them. So your question is, yes, Mr. Belvedere can then foreclose it out, and what happens to the IRS lien when he forecloses it?
Wipes out.
It wipes it out.
Now, I have another question. After the sheriff's sale, is it still have, I guess now in today's market you probably would, but after the sheriff's sale, I would still have a pretty good chance of being able to negotiate a short sale with the mortgage company?
You do, but technically from everybody that talks, you don't have as good a chance as you did when it was in the loss mitigation. But Detroit, Michigan, Southeast Michigan, right now, you have a good strong chance to do a good short sale when it's in the redemption period
And
after the sheriff's
what's
sale.
the reason why you lose position to be able to bargain? Why are you losing it after the sheriff's sale?
Because the law reads that you can catch up the payment, and then what happens is it slips over to a different department. And I don't understand, how mortgage companies think or why they do what they do, but at that point it's in an REO position, and at that point they're usually figuring out who they're going to assign where it's like over for them at that point. They're ready to proceed to take it back altogether, and they're not negotiable. But they are in this market.
Okay.
So
The simplest way to put it, the mitigation department are motivated to get the loan off their books. The REO are not motivated. They don't care.
at that point, they own the property. The people still have redemption rights. Here's a better way to explain it. In other parts of the country, the redemption periods are different. And some places, when you do the foreclosure, it's over. Boom, they got the property. So when you're dealing with a company that thinks nationally, and the state of Michigan's law requires a 6-month redemption period. So I say that if the rest of the country was on a 6-month redemption period, they might be thinking totally different. But they think that way because they're used to, once it goes to REO, that's exactly what it means. It's REO. It's real estate owned by the mortgage company. It's their property. They're preparing to resell it at that point. So they don't want to, there's no dealing with anybody. It's just going to go the way it's going to go. So they're not very negotiable. Now, it does not mean that if you were in another state, you wouldn't want to try to do something with them, because you want to keep presenting your case. And when you talk to the loss mitigation department, if the loss mitigator says, you know, oh no, I'm not doing this, it's not going to work, and they're dogmatic, you would then call them back and ask who their supervisor is. You have nothing to lose. So you're going to ask who their supervisor is and talk to the supervisor. If they don't give you their supervisor, you're going to recall back in and ask who their supervisor is, and then call and talk to the supervisor. And just keep going up the chain, because you have nothing to lose in that process.
I know that there's a difference in the statutory right of redemption between the forfeiture at the district court and the foreclosure. And you just said it was 6 months foreclosure. Isn't there a 12-month foreclosure redemption period?
There is, and I'm like inside the it actually says it up there. If you've got, and I'm not going to get the exact numbers, but if the mortgage is more than half paid down, then it's going to be a 12-month redemption. And if it's over 3 acres, I think it's 3 acres, then it's going to be a 12-month redemption. So there's certain criteria, but you're going to know that inside the legal news what the redemption rights are. And if the property's been abandoned, it's a 30-day redemption. And what's going to happen is how they determine the property's abandoned. Okay, so now you're living in the house, you got the house listed, and the mortgage company sends out somebody to inspect, but you're not home, and it occurs to them like it's abandoned. The inspector goes back, signs an affidavit the house has been abandoned. Then they publish and they say that the house has been abandoned. But it's not. It's listed and everything else. You've got to go to court to stop that or pull it off. And I've been in that position too, and they'll back off of you when that happens. But what they say when they send out the abandonment clause is if you haven't abandoned your property, you need to respond to us in writing. What do you think the people that are in foreclosure, reading all that stuff, are responding in writing? They're not. So, and a lot of people that are in foreclosure don't realize they've done the abandonment on them. They don't realize they can get it extended 6 months. It's not a big deal to do it. So now you're looking for lead generation. So you chase defaulted paper, defaulted seconds. You've got the mortgage people to talk to. Then after this period, okay, it's all over, right? So when you're generating leads, you'll have people call you and say they've taken me to district court and I want to save my house. What would that tell you? They've gone all the way through the redemption period, and now they're getting sued in district court. They're evicting them.
Right, it's eviction time.
It's over. It's already over at that point. Do you get that?
Yeah,
But if somebody's still in the house, they still have to evict them. So they can have an additional 45 days to hang in the property. So they got their 6-month redemption and then they evict them. So a lot of times you get leads and they'll tell you, well, I'm in the 36th district court or I'm in the 50th district court. They'll tell you what court they're in. It's a district court. Then that tells you that it's not foreclosure. They're just being evicted. You're pretty much, it's over. So after the foreclosure, what you want to do is you need to work with an asset manager, you need to work with an REO agent, and if you're working with an REO agent, what's the thing you need to know about them? I'm a real estate agent, they're a real estate agent, I've now got a buyer for one of their properties. Would I want to present the offer for my buyer to them? Peter's an REO agent, it's C21, I'm a budget agent, I have the buyer. Does it make sense for me to submit an offer to Peter?
Not unless you have a way of getting paid in writing.
No, it's listed. I'll get a 3% commission.
They don't like that.
Peter's the lister, he's the king. And if he's got a hot property, my buyer needs to go direct with him and write the deal.